So we have to go back over the bridge and amend our walk just a little bit. I don't think we've seen the influx of the tourists yet, although they're probably coming. Apparently what's happened in recent years is they've allowed ships with thousands of passengers to dock here and come into Venice. And that's had the effect of massively increasing the number of tourists in the city. They just recently instituted a tourist tax for people entering the city, unless you are staying at a hotel inside the city of Venice or Venezia. If that's the case, you get an exemption from the tax. We have such an exemption. Sadly, I know no Italian at all. And there goes the water bus. We may do a water bus ride for you folks to give you an idea of what it's like. Well, I bid. We missed this road, the Calle del Spicer, because it doesn't look like much of a calle to me. But in fact, this is the path they want to take us on. Isn't this charming? Apparently there's no laws about posting signs almost all over the place, because they do. Last night while we were at the airport, it was relatively safe because of the fact that these are interesting views here. It was relatively safe because of the fact that we were constantly being watched by airport police and Army Guard troops, all of which were relatively heavily armed. Beautiful art here. Now we're going over yet another beautiful little canal with a gondola going down it. Is that cool? Very narrow. The age of these buildings is amazing. Go ahead, sir. Look at the brickwork there. That's disclosing this building is probably several hundred years old. Most Europeans speak several languages. Most Americans don't, which is sort of sad. I actually wish, this is a group obviously of, I'd say, high school students. a large group of high school students, possibly on a class trip. And there's their teachers following up the rear. Now we have to go straight on the Calle del Jose da Post. I can't, it's sort of obliterated on the sign, it's hard to read. Lots of narrow streets. I see watermarks on the walls here. I've heard that in January and February, much of Venice is underwater. And certainly global climate change is probably going to have an adverse effect on places like Venice. Look at the bricks, the lower three bricks, all three brick rows, a slightly different color, indicating they may have been exposed to water for some period of time. Right over here, the wall has the same look of flooding. I hear people singing. And that's a calle. You hear the person singing? On the Calle del Tagaperia. It's a very musical sounding language. And I'm basically on what looks like almost an abandoned street here. There's a little hotel, I guess, in here. Looks like they're serving breakfast. Bar open inside, it says. Good morning.
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 You can tell at first glance they were Americans. Now, let's see where we're supposed to go. We don't have a lot of choices. Let's see. All right, now we're walking toward the Plaza de San Marco.
In some buildings which are older than where you stay
That's the tour guide. Always a good idea to get a tour guide. Saint Laurent. As we approach 10 o'clock, it's getting more and more crowded here, as you can see. Tourists are starting to arrive. Time to get out is early in the morning. 5:30 to 6 a.m., which I plan to do tomorrow. And there's those European cargo pants, where the pockets are dangling on the outside. They don't, I've never seen those in the U.S. These are people lining up for a gondola crossing, perhaps? There's a group of Asian tourists. Korean, more likely. They're taking groups of Korean tourists. On a gondola.
Ça sent bien. Eh, ça sent pas.
These boats too look beautiful. The leather seats in that gondola. Polished black wood. $90 euros. Nothing comes cheap anymore. There's a Prada store, a Versace store, Valentina store. How about that? And more signs posted everywhere possible. I don't know what this is, but it's a very beautiful building. These are paintings he does, or photographs for painting. Prada is here. This is a church outside. It's a beautiful church. The organ in the back of the church. Look at the paintings that adorn this church. If I knew anything about art, I'd tell you who did them, but I know nothing. Okay, now we're back out. Watching happy people of Venice. Looks like they're starting to do some construction, maybe on that church. Veânɛttsja, I don't know that brand, but maybe you do. And LV, who doesn't know LV? I've given much of my money to LV. Particularly for my daughter's baggage and luggage needs. Jimmy Cho. Well, I think we're walking down the Fifth Avenue here of Venice, and the stores are just opening up. The stores open up about 10 o'clock or 10:30. Saint Laurent, another Saint Laurent store. Some very well-dressed people here too, who are not tourists. They're either shopkeepers or people who work here. Tag, pure, good watch. Fendi. All the best stores are here, that's for sure. Alitalia has put in a floor design. Some construction going on in here. And then where do we find ourselves now? Aha! It looks like we're in the Plaza de San Marco. We hope to come back here tomorrow at about 5 a.m. when there's no humans here. We're going to endeavor to go to the top of the tower. There's an elevator that takes you up, and there's an excellent view of Venice. We're going to see possibly 6 or 8 museum buildings in this plaza. Tour guides galore here. Another tour guide. People carrying the flags are typically tour guides. And so you won't get lost.
No.
I've always enjoyed getting lost. Find it fun to travel without a tour guide. I know some people in this industry, the travel video industry, always recommend getting a travel guide. I think at some point that's a good idea. Look at the people dining outdoors, having, I would assume, breakfast in Venice. Taking selfies of themselves. Very much the French cafe feel. Sadly, they're doing construction to this beautiful church. We do have a tour scheduled for this at noon. More Asian tourists. I'm going to stop recording now because of the construction noise. Beautiful. It appears there's some construction being done on this. And it appears behind us, they're building some sort of construction, like a platform, maybe for lights, or maybe they're planning something for going on in the summer. Now, in this plaza, you're surrounded by museums. There are museums in every direction that you look. And of course, you have the Grand Canal. Let's walk over the Grand Canal. Then we'll have to bid you adieu to go back, recharge our batteries. For our 12 o'clock appointment. Just like everything else in Europe these days, and in the United States to a large extent as well, you need to book in advance. You need to get on your iPhone and book your appointments to view things. Just the way of the world at this point in time. It's prudent for the tourist entities, but it sort of eliminates spontaneity. You really can't walk by museums. Oh, I'd like to see this museum. And walk in, because you probably can't get in. They do that to balance the flow of tourists coming south. Now we're approaching the Grand Canal. And let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll stop this portion of our walk through Venice video. And you notice that some people who walk through Venice videos don't say a word. Sadly, I can't keep my mouth shut. I've had that problem all my life. If you'd like to tell me to shut up, please feel free to do that. I'll endeavor to stop talking. Play soft music for you instead. Haven't smelled a lot of marijuana smoke yet. The tourists mostly stay outside of Venice in less expensive accommodations and then are bussed in to the edge of Venice. This is gondola service here. Gondola City. I guess everybody wants to go on a gondola ride. If I was with a charming young lady, maybe I too would want to go on a gondola ride and be persuaded to go on one. But since I'm not persuaded. At this point in time, we'll look at the massive tourists from all over the world and wish them the best and bid them adieu. And we'll end this video. Thank you for watching. If you like Gary's tours, subscribe and like. We have lots of tours of Europe, of France. It's going to get, and many tours of Ireland, and there's another 20 to 50 tours of Ireland in production. I think you'll find this very, very interesting. I try to be as informative as I can and try to tell you everything I know, which is very little. So I'll bid you adieu for now.